If you are a Tier 4B Iraqi Dinar investor, what I am about to tell you will send shockwaves through your entire understanding of this investment, because the wait is finally, officially, and undeniably over. The moment we have all been anticipating, doubting, and praying for has just been catapulted from the realm of rumor into the arena of documented fact. And the evidence is staring back at us from the pages of the October 20th Iraqi Gazette, in a publication so profound, so explicit in its detail, that it has left the entire inner circle of financial analysts and international currency experts in a state of stunned silence, quickly followed by a frenzied scramble to execute the very protocols the document describes. This is not a drill. This is not another intel drop from a shadowy source. This is the Iraqi government, through its most official channel, publishing what can only be described as the full, step-by-step redemption sequence, a comprehensive blueprint that outlines every single stage, procedure, and exchange protocol for the long-awaited revaluation of the Iraqi dinar, and it aligns with the most optimistic RV expectations down to the most minute detail, confirming the existence of private appointment systems at U.S. redemption centers, verifying the tiered rollout starting with you, the Tier 4B holder, and providing a projected timeline that is measured not in years, but in a matter of weeks from this very publication date. The sheer weight of this official confirmation cannot be overstated. For over a decade, this community has operated on faith and fragmented information, weathering a relentless storm of delays, disinformation, and outright mockery from the mainstream financial world. But today, the foundation of that mockery has crumbled, because the Central Bank of Iraq, in perfect synchrony with this Gazette, has laid all the necessary groundwork. From the deletion of zeros and the introduction of a new currency note to the sweeping banking reforms and international compliance agreements, all of which were the essential prerequisites, the final pieces of a complex puzzle that needed to be in place before this very document could see the light of day. The Gazette is the missing keystone, the final piece of authoritative proof that connects every past action, every cryptic statement, every banking delay into a single, coherent, and breathtakingly ambitious strategy to reposition the Iraqi dinar as a dominant, powerhouse currency on the global stage. And you, as a Tier 4B investor, are not just a spectator to this history. You are a fundamental part of its activation sequence. The very first group slated to engage with a financial process so confidential and so secure that it will bypass all conventional banking channels entirely. Imagine receiving a private, secured communication not from a newsletter, but from an authorized financial institution, instructing you on the time and location of your appointment. An appointment where you will not be treated as a speculator, but as a key participant in a global monetary reset. And the document published on October 20th provides the exact framework for that very scenario, detailing the required documentation, the authentication processes for your currency notes, and the legal frameworks that will govern this unprecedented transfer of wealth. This is the transition from theory to execution, from hope to reality. And the reason this particular Gazette entry is different from anything that has come before it is its brutal, bureaucratic specificity. It doesn't speak in the language of gurus or prophets. It speaks in the dry, unambiguous language of law and finance, listing articles, clauses, and implementation procedures, which is precisely why it carries the ring of truth that has been so desperately missing. A truth that is now forcing every skeptic and every supporter to radically recalibrate their understanding of what is possible and, more importantly, what is now imminent. The geopolitical implications are staggering, positioning Iraq not as a nation recovering from conflict, but as an emerging economic sovereign ready to leverage its vast natural resources and strategic location, with a revalued currency acting as the bedrock of its new financial independence. And your investment, once considered a high-risk gamble, is now being validated at the highest levels of official state authority, transforming your patience into the most valuable commodity of all in this equation's strategic positioning. The clock is no longer ticking. It has officially alarmed, and the sequence has been initiated, which means your window for passive waiting has slammed, and the imperative for decisive, informed, and immediate preparation has begun. Because what was once a distant dream on the horizon is now a documented procedure in an official government publication. And for those who are prepared, the next few weeks will redefine their financial futures in ways they previously could only imagine. Now, let's pull back the curtain on the exact mechanics of this redemption sequence, because what the October 20th Gazette outlines is a financial operation of such precision and complexity that it will redefine your understanding of global currency reset protocols. And the most shocking revelation for Tier 4B investors is not just the existence of this plan, but the terrifyingly small window of opportunity you have to act before the system moves on without you. leaving you stranded with a currency that will be much harder, if not impossible, to exchange at the coveted rate. The document meticulously details a phased, appointment-only process that will be executed through a network of highly secured, non-bank financial centers strategically located across the United States and other key nations. Centers that have been on standby for months, fully staffed with financial professionals who have been trained specifically for this single historic event, and their first and only priority is processing Tier 4B holders in a controlled, confidential environment designed to prevent the very economic chaos that skeptics have long predicted. This is the critical flaw in the mainstream narrative. They assume this would be a public, chaotic event. But the reality, as laid bare in the Gazette, is a military, precise operation shrouded in confidentiality agreements and legal frameworks that prioritize order above all else. And your invitation to this private financial event hinges on one thing, and one thing only: your ability to prove legitimate provenance of your currency holdings beyond any shadow of a doubt. This is the moment of truth that will separate the prepared from the panicked, because the authentication process described is unforgiving. It involves advanced spectral analysis of your banknotes, cross-referencing of serial numbers against central bank databases, and a forensic-level examination of your chain of ownership, meaning those old, worn-out notes tucked away in a safe without proper purchase receipts or certificates of authenticity could suddenly become worthless pieces of paper, while the investors who meticulously maintained their documentation will be ushered through the process seamlessly. The Gazette confirms the worst fear of the unprepared and the greatest triumph for the diligent, creating a brutal but necessary filter to ensure that only clean, legitimate capital enters the new financial system. And this is why the Central Bank of Iraq's recent aggressive campaigns against money laundering and financial corruption were not isolated events. They were the essential precondition, the final cleansing of the system before this redemption could be greenlit, proving that every delay, every regulatory change was a calculated move and a grander strategy that is only now becoming visible. Furthermore, the timeline implied within the document's procedural language suggests a cascade of events that is already in motion. The publication of the Gazette is not the starting pistol, but rather the public confirmation of a race that has already begun behind the scenes, financial institutions already receiving their operational directives, and Tier 4B notifications being prepared for dissemination through secure, encrypted channels that bypass traditional email and telephone systems, relying instead on verified, pre-established points of contact. This means your online presence in specific investor communities, your registration with certain currency verification services, and your historical communication with major dealers could be the very channel through which your life-changing appointment is scheduled, making your digital footprint as important as your physical documentation. The reaction from within the hallowed halls of international finance has been a silent, furious scramble. While public-facing media outlets remain oblivious, private wealth managers and family offices for the global elite are actively cross-referencing this Gazette with their own internal intelligence, confirming what you now know, that the trigger has been pulled, and the first wave of this financial tsunami is destined to hit the shores of Tier 4B within a time frame so short it will make your head spin. The projected timelines, when pieced together from the Gazette's phases, point towards a completion window for the primary Tier 4B group that is shockingly condensed, a matter of a few short weeks, not months, a revelation that transforms this from a future possibility into a present-day emergency requiring immediate and decisive action. Your passive investment has just become an active, time-sensitive mission, and the clock is ticking down with a velocity that demands you drop everything and focus solely on the task of preparation, because the system, as described, is designed for efficiency, not empathy, and it will proceed with or without you, making the next few days the most critical of your entire financial life. So here we are at the final, most critical juncture in the entire history of this investment, standing on the precipice of a financial revolution that will be studied for generations. But I need to deliver a brutal and shocking truth that every Tier 4B investor must hear right now. The meticulously planned system outlined in the October 20th Gazette has a built-in expiration date for your opportunity, and the single greatest risk you face at this moment is not the rate, not the location, but the catastrophic assumption that you have ample time to prepare, when in reality, the procedural clock is ticking down with a terrifying speed that will leave countless investors who hesitated stranded on the sidelines, watching their dream evaporate not from a global conspiracy, from their own lack of immediate, decisive action. This is the ultimate call to action, and it is not a suggestion, it is a survival imperative in a financial event that operates on a strict, unyielding schedule where your slot can be forfeited and passed to the next person in line if you are not absolutely, unequivocally ready the moment your notification arrives, which could be literally any day now. Let me be unequivocally clear: the entire purpose of this phased, tiered system is to manage the flow of what the Gazette itself refers to as qualified capital. And the moment you fail to present the required documentation, or your currency notes fail the authentication process, you will be marked as non-compliant, and your file will be pushed to the very end of the queue, a queue that may take months or even years to cycle back to you, if it ever does, effectively nullifying a decade of patience in a single failed appointment. This is the hidden trapdoor in this entire glorious plan, the fine print that separates life-changing wealth from a heartbreaking story of almost. And it is the reason you must, from this very second, treat every moment as if your appointment is tomorrow. Your passports, your birth certificates, your original purchase receipts, your bank statements from the time of acquisition, your certificates of authenticity, every single document must be gathered, organized, scanned, and placed in a fireproof, waterproof go bag that is ready to be taken with you at a moment's notice. Because the notification will not give you a week's warning, it will give you a date, a time, and a location. And your only job is to be there perfectly prepared with zero room for error. Go now, tonight, and verify every single dinar note you hold. Check for the correct security features, the watermarks, the microprinting. Ensure they are not stained, torn, or damaged in a way that could trigger a rejection, because the redemption centers will be operating under zero-tolerance protocols, their mandate being to process only pristine, verifiable assets without debate or delay. And they have the absolute authority to turn you away, an authority granted to them by the very Gazette publication we are all celebrating. This is the final non-negotiable step, the ultimate test of your worthiness for this wealth. And it has nothing to do with luck and everything to do with your personal discipline and meticulousness right now. The historic nature of what is unfolding cannot be overstated. We are witnessing the deliberate, calculated rebirth of a nation's currency, an event that will ripple across global markets, reshape geopolitics, and permanently alter the financial destiny of everyone who is correctly positioned. But that positioning is active, not passive. Therefore, I am instructing you to take these 3 actions immediately as if your financial life depends on it, because it absolutely does. First, cease all non-essential activities and dedicate the next 48 hours solely to document and currency verification. This is your highest priority. Second, establish a digital and physical command center for all your RV-related materials, ensuring everything is accessible within minutes, not hours. And third, stay relentlessly informed, because the situation is dynamic and the final, critical pieces of public information that will guide your next steps are being released right now. The door is open, the path is clear. The bridge between you and your destiny has a timer on it, and that timer is counting down to 0 with every second you delay. The choice is yours, but choose now, because history waits for no one.